good afternoon or good evening, depending on what coast you're at. It seems like there's a lot of West Coasters here. So is the West Coast the best coast right now? Just teasing everyone. So if you're joining us from a different part of the country, thank you so much. If you're supposed to be having dinner right now, again, you could still munch on dinner while you listen to this great panel that we're about to have. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So we are going to be talking about building pathways through peer-to-peer mentorship and really talking about the power of mentorship, especially for young people. If you're just joining us right now, please note that this session will be recorded and archived, and these slides will also be shared with everyone on the call. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and if you have any questions, we are going to drop some links below and you can check those out. So thank you again so much for joining today. And if this is your first time, we will be going some quick digital community guidelines. I just shared that we're going to be recording this session, but also please use the chat box for any relevant comments or thoughts. And we just ask to maintain a respectful and collaborative environment. And with that said, if you're on our YouTube channel watching us, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch and listen, because we're going to have these amazing, talented college students really talk about what got them going into starting their mentoring programs. But before we get started, and you're probably wondering, who is this person talking to me? I don't even know who she is. My name is Denise. I am a senior manager at the TGR Foundation. And I actually work with high school students all the way through college students. And here and there, I also work with middle and elementary school students. So everything college access or career exploration, I am there with you. And there's actually at least one student on this call today that I had the privilege to work with, and I'm so excited for you all to hear a little bit more from her. So thank you again for joining us. And before we get to meet our panel, I will say, and we're going to drop this question in the chat right now, I want to get to know you all. What is one word, or what would be the best way someone would describe you? And when I say someone, your friends, how would they describe you? We were just talking about this right before we got this call, but we tweaked the question just a tad bit. So I'd love to hear that in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from, what city and what state you're joining us from. So please add that in the chat. Love to know. So without further ado, and I want you all to meet this incredible, talented group of college students who I am just like, okay, hashtag goals. Like, this is what I should have been doing when I was in college myself. So again, thank you so much for being here today. So instead of me introducing them, I'm going to have them introduce themselves and say a little bit more about themselves. And we'll go ahead and get started with Ava.
Hi, everyone. I am from UCLA. I'm a first-year electrical engineering student, and I am currently the mentorship director for Open Counsel.
Go for it, David.
Hey guys, I'm David, and I work with Ava at Open Counsel. I am a co-founder and CEO at Open Counsel. Currently, I'm going to Cornell University to study finance, and I'm from the Orange County area.
Thank you, David.
Everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabby Henry, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a senior at UC Berkeley, majoring in political economy, which is a mix of poli-sci and economics. I am one of the co-founders of UC Mentor, and a fun fact about me is that my first job ever was working at Disneyland.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aidalis Camarena, and my pronouns are she, hers, ella. I am a senior at UC Berkeley studying sociology, and one fun fact about me is that I've swum with dolphins.
Wow. Okay. I would be terrified, Elise, by the way. I would be literally screaming in the middle of the ocean with
It was
dolphins.
really fun. I loved it.
Awesome. Well, look, let's get started. I know we got a lot of amazing questions on our Eventbrite registrations, and I definitely want to get through some of those with you all. Before you also dive into what your programs are about, I think mentorship is something that has been, top of mind, especially this past year in a pandemic where so many students, not just college students, but high school students, middle school students, have really been, really alone, feeling alone, haven't really had a community. And I think mentorship has been very crucial during this time. So I'm going to stop actually sharing my screen, and I really just want to have a little bit more of a conversation right now with you. And I'm going to direct this question to Gabby first. As a current college student, being at UC Berkeley, like, how has mentorship supported or changed your personal journey?
Yeah, definitely. So looking back, I know I would not be where I am today if it weren't for the mentors I've had throughout my life. Having a mentor has helped me learn more about myself and my capabilities while also challenging me to reach my potential. So I'm a first-gen student, and mentorship has supported me in many ways. I always knew I wanted to go into law, and so without any lawyers in my family, I didn't know where to start. I've connected with mentors who are in the career field I want to pursue, and it was important for me to have one because before going off to college, I felt really lost. As one of the only 3 students from Catella to attend UC Berkeley straight out of high school, I experienced a large learning curve and a culture shock, and I felt imposter syndrome. And for those of you who don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's when you feel like you're not good enough to be there or you feel like you don't belong there. My mentors reassured me that this is where I needed to be and helped me reach my goals. And now I've been able to secure a postgrad fellowship at a law firm, and I will be attending law school next year. So having a mentor is so much more than just having someone guide me or you towards your goals. For me, they're my support system. And sometimes when I feel like I'm not good enough or I can't do something, they help remind me that I'm capable of anything.
Well, Gabby, let's give you snaps for all of those goals, and that's amazing. I love that you share that. And I might, I might not necessarily be asking a question, but can we talk a little bit about imposter syndrome and how you think mentorship can help students with that piece? And I'll open it up to Ava, David, and Idalis, whoever wants to jump in on this question.
I think that mentors are a great way in order to kind of combat imposter syndrome, just because they have a more of like a hands-on experience of what college is actually like. The way that humans are naturally, we always think that we're not good enough to do something, no matter how good we are. At least for most people, not all people experience this. But at the end of the day, so many people in college feel like this, but no one really talks about it. But if someone were older than you and were to validate your feelings and to validate you and make you feel better about yourself, and you were actually able to relate to that person, you wouldn't feel so alone. Even though it was challenging, you wouldn't feel like you didn't belong because other individuals are going through the exact same experience you are.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ava, for that. And that kind of leads me to this next question, and talking about like imposter syndrome and what a mentor can really do about that. Like, how do you think mentorship is vital to a young person's future pathway?
Sorry, I didn't know if I should take it, but okay. So I think that what makes mentorship vital to like a future pathway for many students is that when you are going through something alone, I think a mentor can come in. Obviously, it depends on what you talk about mentoring. They can come in many different shapes and forms, but I think that a mentor is someone that you find that truly cares about your well-being. They're not just there to get you from point A to point B. They're there to hear about your feelings, and they're there to give you advice so that you feel the best while you're going from point A to point B. And also, giving you steps to get there a little bit easier. And so when we have that definition of a mentor, it's important that people have that for the success of their future, because at the end of the day, people can't sometimes do these things alone. Students can't go through college or go into the college process alone. They need someone there who they know is experienced in what they're doing right now, but also cares about their feelings and cares about their mental health and their well-being. And so that's what a mentor is. And if you have that person in your life, you're far more able to be more confident when you're going into college, or more confident when you're going into any single part of your life. If you have a little bit of insight as to what it's going to be like from someone that you know that truly cares about you, you're more confident going in, and you're more prepared, and you're more likely to succeed at that. And so that's why I think that it's really important that people do have mentors in their life, and especially if they really want to have like a better time going through whatever they want to go through, college, jobs, the real world, everything like that, and to be successful in it.
Thank you, Ava. I think I think there's a lot of little sprinkles of gems that you just shared with folks. I know that in looking at some of the questions from the Eventbrite, a lot of folks were looking for like tips, like, what would you tell a mentor? And we'll get to that later on, but I do have another question, and maybe Denise, you can help me out with this one. I think the purpose of today is to really showcase how you all got inspired to really begin your own programs. And by the way, you will be learning more about each of the programs in more detail, and possibly how you can get involved with them if you're interested. But what inspired you in particular to begin your own mentoring program with other college students?
Yeah, so I think that there were a combination of experiences and conversations that I've had that really inspired me to be a part of the creation of the UC Mentor program. And the first one is definitely my own experience as a first generation high school graduate and a first generation college student. I truly had to navigate the educational system and the college application system on my own. And that was definitely a very anxiety-ridden process. I had to pull from every resource that our high school had, and being from a low resource high school, that was very challenging. I definitely had to learn how to be an excelling student, how to navigate and, be a part of extracurricular activities and all of that great stuff. And once college decisions came out, I didn't get into the colleges that I really wanted to get into. And that door that was closed, I was presented with many other open opportunities, which really changed my educational trajectory. I then decided to go to community college after high school. And from that experience, I learned from every mistake that I made in high school and really did everything in my power to change that and learn from it. And so from that experience, I really learned everything that I failed at in my high school application process. I learned that GPA really does matter. I learned that extracurriculars aren't everything, and I learned who I was. And that's a pivotal point in any college application process. And from that, I also met with my best friend and roommate, Gabby, who also comes from Anaheim Union High School District. And when we talked in Berkeley, we really shared the same lived experiences of struggling to find resources and struggling to find a place where we felt like we belonged, and struggling to find people who could support us. And I think that's where the mentorship program came about. We knew that we had connections, we had people who were also really successful college graduates who knew the experience, who knew firsthand what high school was like at our respective high schools. And I think that's where we knew we could definitely create a program that would benefit high school seniors. And that's definitely the creation of our mentoring program.
Wow. Okay, let's all take that in, because I think you shared a lot of reflections regarding your experience. And we might go a little off tangent here, but there's probably a lot of high school seniors watching us right now that perhaps experience rejection from their college campuses, and they don't know how to process that information. Idalis, in a couple words, like what would you tell those students that feel like, okay, I just had a door closed? You know, what would be your kind of like informal mentorship tip to them in this very moment?
I would definitely say that rejection is redirection. And for me, it was definitely a point of growth. And I really had to take that experience and show myself, like, do I give up? Do I not pursue what I really wanted to pursue? Or do I keep going, find another way? And definitely it's a point for you to prove to yourself that you can do it and that you are still capable. A lot of these systems are in place on purpose for you to not be able to succeed. But as a first generation Latina, I knew I had to, and I knew I had to find a way. So if you're experiencing some type of block or some type of obstacle or barrier, just keep going. You never know what you're capable of until you show up for yourself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you for saying that. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you're a high school senior, a full-on blown adult in your 40s or 50s. You know, we always get doors closed on us, but it's a way for us to continue on and moving forward. And David, I want to pass this over to you too. Like, you know, you've all shared like some amazing advice so far and how mentorship has really like supported you in your journey. Like, what inspired you to begin your own mentoring program with other college students as well?
Yeah, sure. Great question, Denise. So first of all, I just want to take a moment and recognize Idalis and everything she has shared just now. I think it's very impressive. And I think it is very relatable to many of us, certain aspects. And so with regards to our own program with Open Counsel, so a little bit like Idalis, I am the first person in my family to have gone through college application process, American high school, stuff like that, and came over to the States when I was around 10, 11-ish. So I can definitely say that from a different perspective, a different angle, similar things apply. So, you know, from when I was in elementary school all the way until getting that acceptance letter from Cornell in senior year, it was very much sort of driving on a highway without headlights. So I think one of the main reasons I started this program along with Ava and a few of the other partners who aren't here today is because I think that having the feeling or knowing what is ahead, even if you might not know the end result, is much more comforting and calming than not knowing anything or seeing anything that is ahead of you. So starting Open Counsel, I really want to provide a platform with our partners to be able to sort of just give firsthand knowledge and the lessons and sort of ruminations that we've learned from our experience and pass it on so that they know exactly what's ahead of them, at least in that instant. So that's why we started Open Counsel.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, David, for sharing that. And I think that's a perfect cue for us to learn a little bit more about your program, Open Counsel, and perhaps how high school students and college students can get involved in your particular program. So without further ado, maybe you can give us a little bit of background, like when did you get started? Like, was this something that you just got inspired?
Yep, I'll give you our origin story. Denise, if you don't mind moving on to our slide, and I'll just start right there.
Perfect. There you go.
Yep. Okay, so like Denise said, I want to go through our origin story a little bit. So debaters, engineers, athletes, and entrepreneurs. That describes many of the sort of achievement aspects of our founding partners. And our program started relatively recently, as early as 2020, right after we all sort of got our acceptance to college and sort of like meditated on our past 4 years of experience And so we decided what's better than, passing on our firsthand experience and paying it forward. That's really important to us with our knowledge and resources that we've gathered through the past 4 years, whether it's extracurriculars, test prep, choosing classes at school, going through the college application, the FAFSA, CSS stuff, everything like that. So with Open Counsel, our two main goals, and this runs throughout the program and the organization. The first is we want to democratize opportunities for our students to achieve, period. Our entire goal is about empowering students to basically achieve what they want to achieve in their life in the future, whether it is going to law school like Gabriella, or for me, it's going to investment banking. We want to be able to cultivate these early opportunities for our students to develop educationally and professionally, so that when they step, we have no doubt that they're going to do well in the future. So when they take that step onto college campus, they're ready to go, head start over everyone else. So just to get them prepared in that way to achieve. And the second is sort of our core headline: access, mentorship, truth. These three words embody everything that we want for our program, and to sort of get to our students. So we utilize a pay it forward philosophy, and we recognize, historical injustices and inequities. And this is why we want to provide opportunities for future growth for everyone in the communities. And for us, it is really about, we want to build a sustainable system where students that have gone through the program would want to come back and sort of give back, pay it forward to their younger sort of brothers and sisters in one way or another. So that's what we're about. And I'll pass it on to Ava to explain what we offer specifically and our mentorship programs.
Thanks so much, David. I really appreciate the introduction. So this is just a little bit more specifics into kind of how our mentorship program operates if you were to be a mentee. And then also it gives a little bit of insight into what you would be expected to do if you are a mentor. So our mentorship program has 3 stages to it. So we like to accept kids into our program around as early as 8th grade. However, we are totally willing to accept any student on any at any different path, probably above 8th grade, unless you're a very, very achieving, like 5th grader, very high achieving 5th grader. We're very supportive of being super ambitious. But yeah, even if you're in 10th grade, even if you're in 11th grade, we would definitely love to take you in. We would just kind of change the way that this program works a little bit. But so the first stage of coming into the program is Discover. So this lasts around like 8th and 9th grade. It lasts around 2 years. Obviously, it can be shortened to fit other people's timelines, but ideally this would happen in like 8th or freshman year. So find what you're passionate about through developmental seminars that we hold, where we bring in speakers from different schools or from different career paths, and they can talk about different things that they do. We also our mentors will also recommend to their mentees different extracurriculars that might be available at their school, or different extracurriculars that might be available nationwide that they can join and that they can find their passions through. And also we introduced the Stepstone Plan. So the Stepstone Plan is something that is constantly part of our mentorship program, but pretty much a short way to explain it is that every single meeting, there are like a couple of goals that you make with your mentor that are short-term and a couple of goals that are long-term. And we think that this is super important, because keeping those goals in mind will make everything seem a little bit less overwhelming, because we know that a big goal such as applying to college is a huge process, but breaking it down into little steps can make the whole process seem much, much less daunting to the students. And it makes it a little bit easier for us to navigate you through that college process, or even through a career process if college is not your main goal after high school, if you'd like to go straight into a career. So after discovering what you're a little bit passionate about, then we move on to the develop stage. So the develop stage is you dive further into your activities. For example, if you have different passions, we recommend different award competitions that you can join to get recognized for your abilities and your capabilities and your talents. You can also collaborate with fellow mentees in our program in activities that you're passionate about. For example, if you want to start a club at your school, or if you want to start a club between a couple of different schools, there might be some other mentees in the program that are also interested in starting that club with you. And if you're a team going into it, it's much, much less daunting. And then also in this stage, we're still keeping in mind the Stepstone plan. So after we've developed the skills, now we are on the present. And obviously we never finish developing our skills, but we move on to present, where you work on your resumes and college applications, and we have different methods of helping you through that, which I'll go into right now. So for the mentorship, so like one of the different features that we have, for example, is essay walkthroughs, whereas this comes from us being a very integrous organization. We believe that everything that we do should be integrous. And so therefore essay walkthroughs are just a simple walkthrough of essays that we wrote in our college applications or that mentors wrote in their college applications. They share their screen and they talk you through how we thought about the question and how we were able to write different answers and give you a little bit of inspiration to go ahead and write your own questions. And then other resources that we also provide through the mentorship program are extracurriculars, academic help, one-on-one mentorship. So, your mentor is there for you, whenever you need. You can message them on Slack at any time. It can be about school. It can be about your extracurriculars. It can just be about your mental health. We've all been there. We've all been overwhelmed, and we're more than willing to help you get through hard stages and hard parts of your life. And also, we have different test prep programs that we can also walk you through for standardized testing. And if you do want to become like a mentee, you can visit our website at www.open-counsel.com. And if you go on to the Become a Mentee page, there's a little link there, and you can fill out the application in order to become a mentee. For our mentees, we look for people from any, again, 8th through 12th grade is ideally what we would like to work with. And from any part of the United States, any state that you're coming from, any area, we would love to help you. It doesn't have to be within a certain district at all. You can be on the East Coast, West Coast. We'd love to help you from everywhere. And also, if you do want to become a mentor, on our website, there's a Let's Chat function at the bottom right. And then you can send us a message and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming a mentor. And we'll reach out to you, we'll give you like a form with some interview questions. And also we'll ask for your resume and other things like that. And if you do want to become a mentor, just remember that some of the responsibilities that you're going to uphold is, being there for your mentor within 24 hours of when they text you. And also another good trait to have if you are a mentor is that you truly want to help kids and pay it forward and pay your knowledge forward to students that are younger than you. And so, yeah, if you do want to become one, you can. And our criteria for becoming a mentor is, if you're in college or even if you're a graduate student, you could definitely become a mentor too. And we accept mentors from anywhere over the country as well. And so that's just about our mentorship program and a little bit of details. Again, if you have any questions, visit our website and send us a question through the Let's Chat function or through the contact function.
Yeah. Ava, thank you so much for all of the information. Like, seriously, super impressed. Like, this just makes me think, like, what was I doing with my life in college? I mean, come on. This is amazing. I love it. So again, if we even have any 8th graders watching us right now, or even family members that have like 8th grade students or high school students that really want that mentorship piece, or college students or graduate students, like Ava just mentioned about like, hey, if you want to be a mentor, get involved. I know a lot of folks right now are really trying to find ways on how to give back. This is your opportunity. Check out Open Counsel. And yeah, thanks for all of the information. We'll get to some more questions. If you have questions for Open Counsel, feel free to either add them on the chat. You could direct message them if you feel more comfortable that way, or you can just wait till the very end for us to do kind of like a little Q&A session. But other than that, I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it over to your college mentor. And yeah, give us all the info. How can students get involved, and what does the process look like for you all?
Yeah, definitely. So UC Mentor was created in August 2020, and that's when we introduced our program to the Anaheim Union High School District. So Idalis and I are two of the co-founders, and our mission statement is we are a free program led by AHSD alumni who are dedicated to helping first-gen, low-income, and or underrepresented minority students pursue higher education. We do this by offering mentorship, scholarship resources, and internship volunteer opportunities, as well as college application assistance. So you can join on a semester basis, so you can join in fall and spring, or you could do the whole year. Some of our focus groups include Latinx, Asian Pacific Islander, Southwest Asian and North African, Black, Indigenous, First Gen, Undocumented, and LGBTQIA+. Next slide. Some of the resources we provide is mentorship. So as of right now, our mentorship program is live at Catella High School and Anaheim High School. These are one-on-one mentorship, and all mentors will be currently enrolled or graduated from a four-year institution, and they're all alumni from the AHSD. Students will most likely be paired with a mentor from a similar background as themselves, and this mentor will help students engage in meaningful conversations about the college system and transition. The mentor will also meet with the student and advise them on the college application process. So along with that, we provide college application assistance, which is a little bit in addition to mentorship, but this is for the rest of the district. Mentees will receive guidance with the Common App, UC, CSU, and community college applications. Many of our mentors come from different backgrounds, pathways. So some of them are transfer students currently at UC's private, or some of them are 4 years straight out of high school students. So mentors have all been admitted to and are attending the following schools. These are just a couple: Stanford, UC Berkeley, UCLA, Cal State Fullerton, and more. We also provide scholarship resources, and the resources you see have been won by some of our mentors. So they're very well versed on how to guide the mentees on how to win these scholarships. So they provide help by finding both local and national level scholarships for high school students. We provide workshops on writing personal essays. So similar to Open Counsel, we do drop-in writing sessions. We give you tips on how to save money during your college journey, so by financial aid, outside resources, etc. And lastly, we provide internship and volunteer opportunities by collecting our networks. So as you can see on the right, there's a couple of pictures. Those are actually our mentors who have all participated in these internship and volunteer opportunities. So we have the Miss Anaheim Fall Festival Scholarship. We have a medical conference scholarship, medical conference internship that one of our mentors and co-founders is currently on the board for. So they are also very well versed. So what students will gain is assistance with finding and applying to these internship opportunities in different career fields, such as the medical and legal field. Students will also be able to find ways to get involved within the community through volunteer opportunities, virtually and in person. And I'll pass it along to Idalis on how to get involved.
Awesome. Go for it, Denise.
Thank you, Denise. And thank you, Gabby, for that amazing overview of our program. So as for program logistics, all high schools in the AUHSD district have access to year-round monthly newsletters that are compiled with several college resources, everything from scholarships for FGLI minority students and more, volunteer and internship programs, important deadlines for college applications, such as early decision deadline, financial aid deadline. And we also have drop-in writing editing sessions with mentor, as Gabby mentioned earlier. And we also only serve Catella and Anaheim students for one-on-one mentorship opportunities. And that allows mentors to be assigned with a mentee from a similar background as mentioned. And we also do weekly check-ins with our mentees just to ensure that they're feeling confident with the application process, and also just kind of keeping up with their deadlines, making sure they're accountable for that. And yeah, for the most part, if you're interested in joining our fall 2021 cohort as a mentee, and if you are a part of the AUHSD district, you are more than welcome to fill out our interest form, which I will link down below. And if you would like to see a little bit more about our success rate, you can check out our YouTube video that we have that Gabby created that was really, really good. That kind of gives you a recap of our pilot semester.
Yeah, and I'd like just to add, Idalis did mention that it's for Catella and Anaheim High School students, but that was for our first year. We are working on expanding. We're working with the counselors at the other high schools in the district to bring our program to more high schools. So definitely just fill out the interest form if you're from the AHSD, and we'll reach out and let you know we have the space, the one-on-one mentorship at your school.
Gabby and Idalis, thank you so much. Phenomenal job on all of the great information. And thank you so much for clarifying, because I was going to ask that question if you were all planning on expanding. For those students that are part of Anaheim Union High School District, FYI, if we have anybody on the call that's not even from California, it's totally fine, because again, we have our UC mentor program that really is focused on supporting students in Anaheim Union High School District. But if that might not necessarily be a fit, we have open counsel that is open to all students anywhere in the country, and also college mentors that might be interested. So thank you all for sharing that. A lot of great content. I'm so happy. Like, it just makes me so proud of just like this generation of wanting to have movement and ensuring that that it's a community, like a community of support, because I think that's something that I definitely talk to our students about all of the time, is that if you're in a specific program, especially like say it's a selective program to be a part of, don't just keep that information to yourself, share that with others, because the more you do, the more opportunities you're not only sharing with yourself, but you're really sharing it with your community. And at the end of the day, we have to build each other up and not necessarily tear ourselves apart when it comes to competition. I think that's very important to acknowledge. Competition is good, but there comes a point where it's like, okay, like how can I build my community? So Gabby and Idalis, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, before anything, I definitely want to get into some questions. And, you know, I'm going to ask Gabby this first question. You know, what is one tip that you would encourage any mentor on this call to have in mind when they're actually mentoring possibly a younger person, even if it's like a freshman in college to a junior in high school or a senior in high school? Like, what piece of advice do you have for them?
Definitely. So for any mentors who are mentoring young people or who want to mentor young people, my biggest advice is to remember how you felt when you were their age. And I say this because oftentimes we're looking at things from our current perspective and where we are today. But in reality, when we were their age, some of us were just as confused, or if not more confused, about higher education and what college entails. So also with that, I would say be open-minded, because we have so much to learn from young people today. Even if it's a 2-year difference, a lot has changed, and just sort of like almost read the room and see what's going on in society, because there's so much more that has changed since you've been in their place. So treat your mentees the way you wish someone would have treated you when you were their age. And for some students, it may be the first time someone has believed in them. So I would say be accountable, reliable, and remember they look up to you more than you know, even if they might not tell you.
And you know, this kind of reminds me, and this is kind of like a side question, just based on what I'm listening and I'm hearing to you all. What would you actually say to a mentor that's more seasoned, that is already in their profession? You know, because I'm sure these are the mentors that you might have in your life as well. What piece of advice would you give them on how to even talk to college students? And I opened this up, maybe David, like what are your thoughts around that? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you know.
Yeah, sure. No, when you asked the question, some things definitely instantly came to my mind. I think one of the biggest things that a mentor can do for maybe a more mature audience is definitely making things as simple as they could be. Don't overload. Sometimes our mentors tend to know a lot more than us, so they assume that we know the basics, and then it's a sensory overload when they unload that information on you. And I think secondly is definitely challenging your mentees and not making sure that they're not just always in their comfort zone, but rather having them do something a bit difficult, a bit challenging, out of their comfort zone. Because as a mentor, your job is to help your mentee grow, and something challenging and out of your comfort zone is the only way to grow, I think.
Yeah, I think those are some really good tips. And you know what? Thank you so much. I think you provided a very kind reminder, like stop overloading your students.
Yep.
Stop overloading your students. This leads to another question that I saw from Eventbrite, and I'll open this up to Ava or Idalis, whoever wants to answer first. Because we have been, so many of us have been doing distance learning, working remotely, whether it's a mentee or a mentor, what, what can you tell them in navigating their relationship, whether they're part of these programs or not, just mentorship in general, like how could someone navigate a relationship virtually? What tips do you have in that sense? Because I know it's been a struggle for a lot of folks to keep those connections strong. I'll let that question sit for a little bit, but Ava or Idalis, whoever wants to jump in.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. And I think that, so it's important that, with everything having to be virtual, sometimes you can lose that human connection over a screen, especially like over like a messenger or something. So I would recommend, like, tips that I have for that is make sure that not everything is done over text. And like when you can, like every like other week or something like that, make sure that you schedule a call with your mentor where you're both on with your mentor where you're both on camera if applicable, and like if you're able to with your current technology situation. But schedule a call with them where you can hear their actual voice. Maybe you can see their face if your camera's turned on, because that actually does rekindle that connection a lot more. And then additionally, it's very important that, when you're over chat, sometimes people's intentions or people's words can be misconstrued in different terms. So it's very important that when a mentor is talking to a mentee, or even a mentee talking to a mentor over like a chat function where they have to type it out and everything like that, it's very important that you're very careful as to how you're wording your phrases and stuff like that, as to or being very clear about like what your intention is with saying something, or your tone, because sometimes criticisms that come over like a chat function, like for example, oh, I think you should work on this, or I think you should work on that, if maybe you're reviewing like a college essay or something like that, they can come over as a little bit harsh. So it's important to keep that tone very respectfully, and as much as possible, giving that feedback over Zoom or something like that, where you can at least hear the voice and see the face to the voice, is definitely the way to go.
Okay. Thank you, Ava. I think those are a lot of things to keep in mind, and good tips for anyone that's informally or formally mentoring, whether in a program or not. Idalis, what would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think Ava covered a lot of great information in regards to like keeping a connection strong. And I also think in these times, it's crucial that we reach out to those who need help, or if we do need help, to reach out to people that we care and trust about, or that we see that has like credentials that we really would like to, inquire about. I would suggest, like from my personal experience, like using Instagram and posting a story. And if this was me and I wanted to get involved, I'd probably post something like, hey, I have some extra time. Does anybody need help reviewing their college application essay, or have any questions in regards to college? That's definitely something I would do as an informal way of being a mentor. And you can definitely do this in any way, shape, or form, word of mouth, or just doing it out of the kindness of your heart to become a mentor. I think that's like a great opportunity to start getting involved.
Thank you for that, Idalis. I really appreciate it, and I think I'm gonna ask this question to a couple of you. Like, it still blows my mind that you have all started your own mentoring program. You're in college. I know Idalis and Gabby, you're getting ready to actually graduate from your colleges. Can we give a round of applause to them, like right here, right now? Like, this is amazing. And then Ava and David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're all like in your first, second year of college. So like, how, and I think this is a big question all students have, especially high school seniors, like, how do I balance college, my extracurricular activities, and then my life in general? What piece of advice do you have for these high school students? And you know what? I'm going to ask each and every one of you because I feel like you all have probably something different to say. And I'll actually have Gabby get us started, and then we can go to David, Ava, and then Idalis.
Yes. Is my audio okay? Just checking.
You're
Alrighty,
good.
so I always contemplate this question because I feel like there's no perfect answer for this. And I feel like we're always working on how to balance our life. And I don't think it ever ends. But I would say what has helped me is just surrounding myself with people who support me and keep me grounded and remind me to, take a break sometimes. Another thing I had to focus on was definitely not always striving for perfection and being okay with failure. Yeah, I definitely had to be okay with that because when you have a lot going on, say you want to try all these extracurriculars, you want to take 5 classes, well, it's like 20 units, which I've done before when I don't recommend. It can get hard. And I think having a really great support system is the foundation of being able to handle it. Definitely take care of your mental health, put that first and foremost, because you only have one mind, one body. And that can easily be challenged while you're in college because you feel like you have to compare yourself to everybody else. But just remember, you're on your own journey. You will get to where you need to be and you're on your own time frame. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Gabby. David, what do you have to say about balance in college? Does it even exist?
Yep. I definitely agree with Gabriella there for a lot of the stuff. So surrounding yourself with good, nice people. And I think for myself, this question is so often asked by every single person ever in high school and college. But one thing I would say is for everything that you don't want to do, have one thing that you look forward to doing. And I think on a daily basis, weekly basis, because sometimes you just have to do it. My entire philosophy is you just got to run through it like a wall. But at least on the other side of the wall, there's something that you look forward to. So I think just seeing the benefit and the end goal and sort of keeping yourself focused on that and having something you enjoy to do on the side. For me, it's sleep. So no, I'm kidding. Thanks,
hey, sleep is important, okay? Sleep has everything to do with our health, our mind, our whole wellness. So David, you're on point with that. Ava, I'm gonna turn this question to you too.
Yeah, so that's something that I definitely have been combating with college is that there's like so many different things to do, but there's not enough time in the day to do it. And also, sometimes you feel like even when you do take a position or you do take a group, sometimes people feel like it's an obligation and you have to do it. Something that I would just say is like when you're in college and you join a club, remember that all the work you do for that club most of the time is like volunteer work. It's your own time. And if you really can't handle something, you have to be able to say no, because you have to set those boundaries for yourself or else, you're going to probably not, it just could end up where you're in a situation where people are expecting so many different things of you, but because you never set up those boundaries for yourself, if you don't fulfill other people's desires, then you feel like you failed yourself. And that's definitely not the case whatsoever. So I think that a lot of college students need to learn how to say no to anybody, to their parents, to any clubs that they're in, and be able to understand that your validation doesn't come from anybody but you. And if at the end of the day, if you're not happy, then you shouldn't be doing it. So yeah, I think that more people need to learn how to say no sometimes. And then also, if you do want to do a lot of things and you're okay with it, just make sure that you have time in the day that you take to yourself where you're not doing work. If you're at a point where you don't have any time in the day to like take to yourself, even if you think you're doing fine, trust me, in like a year, you're going to burn out and you're not going to want to do anything. Make sure you don't burn out because that is the saddest thing because it's like you throw away a lot and you throw away a lot of your passions and stuff. So don't burn out. Make sure you have time for yourself. Even if you feel like you can handle it, trust me, you cannot handle going a day without time for yourself. So make sure you still have that.
Okay, everyone, let that sink in right now. Like the power, we're talking about the power of mentorship. These are some good like tips right now. The power of saying no goes a long way. Y'all, you're like my mentors right now. Like, come on, like this is amazing. I thank you so much. Idalis, close us out with this question. And I have one last question before we end this awesome panel and session. So, what's your thoughts on balance?
Well, everyone took my answer. It's my last answer, which is caffeine. Anyone who knows me knows I love caffeine, and it's what gets me through rough assignments. It gives me inspiration. It gives me energy aside from sleep and exercise. I think the most important one is definitely self-care and always managing your time effectively and adding in self-care, because at the end of the day, you're only going to have you, and you need to take care of your mental health, your physical health, your well-being, or else it's going to be really hard to stay present in other areas of your life. And if you want to be successful, that's the only way you will be successful. So, oh, it makes you jittery. I'm so sorry. I'm really caffeine tolerant, so that's why I say that. And people who know me know. But yeah, definitely take time for self-care. It's crucial, it's important, and it's a life skill that you're going to need forever.
Thank you, Idalis. And this is one final question before we end, but this actually just came through, and the question is, maybe we can have Idalis. I'll go back to you, and then David, maybe you can end with this as well. Like, you're all very inspirational. Obviously, you started your own mentoring programs. What piece of advice would you have for a high school student or even college student that wants to start their own program, period? Whatever that may look like, whether it's their own mentoring program within their own schools, like across the country, whether it's a club, whatever the case might be, like what is one piece of advice that you have for students that want to lead the way and want to make a difference? So that is we'll get started with you.
I would honestly say, after seeing Gabby's initiative to start, because she was definitely the person who spurred all of this together, just get started. Like, I just saw Gabby just start. Like, she just started typing up her vision of what the program was. We all kind of added in like what we also wanted out of the program, and she sent that out to people who she wanted to advocate to and people who she could kind of express her vision to. And I think that was like the key to starting a program, is to just start somewhere. Write out what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and from there you're definitely on your way to starting a program.
Thank you, Idalis. David, what piece of advice do you have for anyone that wants to start their program?
Yeah, sure. This is a good question, and I definitely would have loved an answer for this question when I was in high school, creating clubs, organizations, and obviously with starting Open Counsel. As one of the co-founders, I can say that, first of all, culture, company, nonprofit culture is such a buzzword these days. It's sort of assumed that it's only applicable to large corporations. It's not true. I think culture is one of the most important things early on. Having a culture of doing things on time, doing things of the highest quality, leading by example. If you expect your partners to do something, you have to make sure that you do that 120%. So establishing a culture that you want, that would work for the long run and be sustainable, is super important early on. And secondly, I just say talk to people. No one's going to steal your idea, especially a lot of these like adults that are mentors. When I started, I talked to many adults. I mean, we talked to obviously Gordon Sr., who's managing TGR, and obviously talked to CEO of Acing Autism and all these other nonprofits that are sort of relevant to what we're doing, and just getting their expertise and experience, because they've been doing this for half their life. So that would be my 2 cents on that.
Thank you, David. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And
Yep.
and one last question I got in the direct message. I must be a high school student. If I want to be a mentee, is it free for me to participate in both of your programs if I wanted to? So I see the yes.
Yes, 100% free.
Okay.
Yep. I'll
Okay.
even give you money. I'm kidding. No, that's great.
Oh, we got that on the record button, everyone. Just kidding,
Yep,
baby. I'm teasing.
Yep.
But I wanted to thank David, Ava, Gabby, Idalise. Thank you so much for participating today. Again, for those folks that registered and just are waiting for the YouTube recording, well, here it is because you made it at the very end. So thank you so much. And also, if you're not inspired right now, hit the rewind button, watch this whole thing again. Like, seriously, like, you guys are so inspirational. Thank you so much. I really hope that if a high school student or even college student is watching you right now, that they see that anything's possible. And if they want to make a difference in their community, that it really starts within themselves and really surrounding themselves with a supportive community. And if you want to be a part of a supportive community, go check out UC Mentor, go check out Open Counsel, see how you can get involved. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your night. And I appreciate everyone that made the call. There you guys go. See, thank you for sharing. Yeah, awesome. Thank you, everyone.